Sitting cross-legged on the mountaintop, Lin Dong slowly stood up. After detecting the faint trace of Bing Huan's aura, he knew that the next step was to head straight for her location. This journey turned out to be shorter than Lin Dong had anticipated, spanning just under 10 million miles. Despite the harsh environment with no help from the energies of heaven and earth, Lin Dong still managed to reach his destination in less than 10 minutes. However, Lin Dong no longer felt the urgency he had before. In his earlier scan, he had detected two immensely powerful auras near Bing Huan, both of which were unquestionably at the heavenly supreme level. While Lin Dong could not determine their exact rank, he was certain that one of these auras belonged to Bing Tsangqiang, Bing Huan's grandfather. With Bing Tsangqiang guarding her, Lin Dong had no reason to worry about her safety. Instead, Lin Dong was now puzzled by two things. First, why had Bing Tsangqiang and Bing Huan come to this place? And second, who was the other person with a heavenly supreme aura? From the cold, ice-like energy that could freeze even the heavens and earth, Lin Dong deduced that this individual was also a powerful member of the Ice Spirit clan. But aside from Longfeng and Bing Tsangqiang, Lin Dong had never heard of a third heavenly supreme in the clan. However, as one of the 5 most powerful ancient spirit clans in the Great Thousand Worlds, the Ice Spirit clan could well have hidden super-existences unknown to the outside world. Lin Dong would not be surprised by this. Regardless, his goal remained unchanged. Whether there was a third or fourth heavenly supreme present, he was determined to bring Bing Huan back to the martial realm. No one could stand in his way. With unwavering determination, Lin Dong set off again, heading toward a distant horizon. At that very moment, approximately 10 million miles away, at the center of a vast continent, there was a flat, ice-covered plaza stretching for thousands of miles. While a blizzard raged outside, the plaza remained eerily calm, signaling that it was a special, protected area within this realm. This was the heart of the Ice Spirit clan's ancestral grounds, the Ice God Plaza. In the center of the Ice God Plaza stood dozens of towering ice monuments, each standing over 1,000 feet tall. These monuments were neatly arranged, but they bore no inscriptions, making it impossible for outsiders to determine their origin. However, the most striking feature of the plaza was not the towering ice monuments, but the enormous, 10,000-foot ice monument located behind them all. This colossal ice monument was black as midnight, and any knowledgeable person would instantly recognize it. The black ice was no ordinary frost. It was the heavenly frost god ice, ranked 4th on the list of the extreme cold heavenly rankings. As the legends told, during the ancient world-ending war, the Ice Spirit clan once had a super-powerful heavenly supreme known as Heavenly Frost Supreme, who wielded the heavenly frost god ice. He had used countless shards of this ice to instantly freeze and obliterate tens of thousands of extraterritorial evil clan warriors, beings comparable in power to supreme-level experts in the Great Thousand Worlds. According to legend, the Heavenly Frost God Ice, along with Heavenly Frost Supreme, was destroyed and erased by a malevolent holy emperor from an outer realm during the world-ending war. Since then, there had been no word of the Heavenly Frost God Ice. Who could have predicted that this supposedly destroyed ice was now under the Ice Spirit clan's control? However, the power of the Heavenly Frost God Ice now seemed weaker than it had been in ancient times. The reason for this was the disappearance of the Snow Spirit. The Snow Spirit was a unique life form formed from pure ice energy, and it was present in the top 30 of the extreme cold heavenly rankings. Now, the Heavenly Frost God Ice had lost its Snow Spirit, and its current purpose was to protect something sealed within it. That was the Ice God Monument, a stone tablet sealed inside the ice. To the Ice Spirit clan, the Ice God Monument was considered a clan-protecting treasure. While no one could currently activate this legendary artifact, every member of the clan would leave a spiritual mark on it upon birth, making it of paramount importance to their people. Before the Ice God Monument stood an elderly figure in a white robe. His face was kind and gentle, as he gazed at a young girl sitting cross-legged before the monument. A smile of approval appeared on his face. The girl, no more than 10 years old, wore a snow-colored long dress, and her long black hair was tied into a ponytail. Her fair and delicate face had a playful charm. This girl was none other than Bing Huan, the granddaughter of Bing Sangqiang, the grand elder of the Ice Spirit clan, and the elderly figure standing behind her was Bing Sangqiang himself. It seems that the heavens truly are aiding the revival of my Ice Spirit clan, Bing Sangqiang murmured, gazing at Bing Huan, who sat cross-legged in front of the Ice God monument. After 10,000 years, we finally have a descendant who can resonate with the Ice God monument. At that moment, it seemed Bing Sangqiang sensed something, as his brow furrowed slightly. He turned and narrowed his eyes, focusing on the distant horizon. Has he arrived already? At the same time, millions of miles away from the Ice God Plaza, on a vast icy continent, a terrifying snowstorm was sweeping across the land and sky. At this moment, Lin Dong, who had arrived here, gradually slowed his pace. Floating in midair, his narrowed gaze focused on a towering mountain not far away, or more precisely, on the gigantic figure emerging from behind the ice peak. The figure stepping out from behind the mountain was an enormous ice-snow Qilin, several thousand feet long. The terrifying aura that enveloped the heavens and earth was no less than that of a perfected Earth Supreme. However, Lin Dong, whose gaze was slightly fixed, knew very clearly that the creature before him was not a super-divine beast from the Beast Record's heavenly ranking. This gigantic ice-snow Qilin belonged to another heavenly ranking. 14th on the extreme cold heavenly ranking, the cold Kirin spirit. Lin Dong muttered as he looked at the ice-snow Qilin, which seemed to be intentionally blocking his way. As he had guessed, the Qilin that appeared was indeed the cold Kirin spirit, ranked 14th on the extreme cold heavenly ranking. It was an incredibly powerful ice-snow spirit, and it seemed that it was raised by the Ice Spirit clan. Upon seeing the cold Kirin spirit, Lin Dong's brows furrowed once more. His gaze swept across the surroundings, and at that moment, in another direction, more than 10 enormous figures slowly appeared. After the cold Kirin spirit, 12 more ice-snow spirits ranked within the top 30 of the extreme cold heavenly ranking appeared around Lin Dong. Seeing these ice-snow spirits, Lin Dong couldn't help but admire the Ice Spirit clan's deep foundation. The combined strength of these dozen ice-snow spirits was enough to rival a heavenly supreme, and a race capable of gathering nearly half of the ice-snow spirits from the Great Thousand Worlds. How could they not stand tall for millions of years? However, Lin Dong was also fully aware of the current situation. Clearly, these ice-snow spirits were here to intercept him and prevent him from reaching the Ice God Plaza. But Lin Dong did not believe for a moment that these ice-snow spirits could stop him. On the Ice God Plaza, Ice Firmament withdrew his gaze from the horizon and looked again at Bing Huan, who was meditating in front of him. About 10 minutes later, the long-awaited Bing Huan finally opened her ice-clear eyes, but she was no longer the same as before. If she had been innocent before, now she was as resolute as a rock. "Huaner, how is it?" Upon seeing Bing Huan's eyes open, Ice Firmament immediately stepped forward and asked. Then, the words that came from Bing Huan's mouth brought a look of great excitement to Ice Firmament's face. "Grandfather, I saw the Ice Spirit Ancestor." When Ice Firmament heard these words, he was so excited that he almost wanted to embrace Bing Huan. The Ice Spirit Ancestor represented something monumental to the Ice Spirit clan, and Ice Firmament understood this better than anyone else. In his memory, it had been over 10,000 years since anyone had seen that presence on the Ice God monument. Some elders even speculated that the ancient supreme being had already completely perished. But now Bing Huan had truly seen him, and the hope for the Ice Spirit clan was reignited. "How did the ancestor respond to you?" Ice Firmament quickly suppressed his excitement and asked Bing Huan. Before this communication with the spirit, he had already instructed her to inform the ancestor of what was happening now. The ancestor. This matter has gone beyond the realm of right and wrong. Whether it succeeds or fails, you, grandfather, are not at fault. And Bing Huan paused. And what? Hearing Bing Huan's hesitation, Ice Firmament's brow furrowed, and he quickly asked. "The ancestor. He wants to meet Brother Lin Dong," Bing Huan said. "Heh. The Ice Spirit Ancestor truly cares for the future of the Ice Spirit clan. Even after perishing for tens of thousands of years, he is still concerned about the future of our clan. Ice Firmament said with a faint smile. He then waved his sleeve, and an ice snow longsword appeared before Bing Huan. Upon seeing the ice snow longsword, Bing Huan immediately took it. She slowly drew the blade from its sheath, and the faint sword light flickered in her eyes. The sharpness of the blade seemed capable of cutting through everything in the world. Clearly, this ice snow sword was no ordinary weapon. Grandfather, this? Looking at the ice snow longsword that Ice Firmament handed her, Bing Huan asked in confusion. The Twilight Cold Sword, a low-grade divine artifact. It's the most powerful weapon you can use right now, Ice Firmament said, his gaze turning toward the distant sky. Hearing Ice Firmament's words, Bing Huan's tender face froze for a moment. She immediately shifted her gaze toward the horizon where Ice Firmament was looking, but with her current cultivation at the initial stage of the heaven-merging realm, she could barely see far. If Lin Dong really managed to come here, it would be an incredible surprise. To reach this place, one must first overcome numerous powerful warriors from the Ice Spirit clan, including the clan leader and other super-strong beings. Furthermore, without the bloodline power of the Ice Spirit clan, it would be nearly impossible to enter. And yet, Lin Dong had somehow arrived here in such a short time. After learning that Lin Dong had reached the Icefire dimension, Bing Huan glanced at the Twilight Cold Sword in her hand. She had more or less guessed what Ice Firmament expected her to do. Xun'er, do you remember what I told you before? Ice Firmament spoke faintly, his gaze still fixed on the distant horizon. He could sense an incredibly terrifying aura approaching at an alarming speed. Yes, I remember. I know what I should do, Bing Huan replied. She grasped the Twilight Cold Sword tightly, her once tender face now filled with determination. As Ice Firmament waved his sleeve once more, she felt her body lighten. In an instant, she and Ice Firmament appeared in another location. This place was above the Ice God Monument, within the cold abyssal ice. Although the cold ice here was immensely powerful, it had no effect on Ice Firmament and Bing Huan. From this vantage point, Bing Huan could see the far-off horizon clearly. As her gaze drifted towards the distant sky, she immediately noticed strange movements. In the hazy distance of hundreds of thousands of miles away, the clouds and ice storms in the sky and on the ground seemed to be torn apart by an unstoppable force. This power was rapidly closing in on them. At the current speed, if it weren't stopped, it would arrive in no more than half a minute. Xun'er, I need to ask you something. Ice Firmament's voice suddenly broke the silence as Bing Huan observed the distant changes in the sky. Bing Huan nodded. Forget it. I'll ask you as another person. I am Ice Spirit Clan's Grand Elder, Ice Firmament, and you are Miss Huan from a lower dimension world. Ice Firmament's tone was calm, but his words were crucial. Tell me, are you here for Lin Dong, or for the Ice Spirit Clan? Bing Huan thought for a moment before responding. Huan's part is for Brother Lin Dong, but the rest is for myself and the Ice Spirit Clan. I see. Ice Firmament smiled lightly, placing his hands behind his back and falling silent. Bing Huan, holding the Twilight Cold Sword, stood beside him on the Ice God Monument, both awaiting the coming storm. Although their wait lasted only several dozen seconds, it felt far longer due to the oppressive atmosphere. After half a minute, a terrifying storm finally arrived, just as expected, sweeping toward the Ice God Plaza. Boom! When the violent storm reached the Ice God Plaza, the ground trembled under its force. However, the Ice God Plaza seemed to possess a mysterious power that calmed everything. As the storm approached, it was gradually suppressed. Outside the plaza, the storm raged uncontrollably, while inside, everything remained still. But Ice Firmament, standing atop the Ice God Monument, narrowed his eyes, while Bing Huan's face revealed a trace of anticipation, though she quickly concealed it. Boom, boom, boom. The ground shook with every thunderous boom coming from outside the plaza. Ice Firmament and Bing Huan then saw, not far from the Ice God Plaza, thousands of enormous figures, like monstrous giants, marching toward the plaza with heavy steps. Their synchronized movements created an imposing visual spectacle. After a few moments, these enormous figures became clearer in their sight. They were thousands of towering ice giants, each over 1,000 feet tall, with runes of ice engraved on their foreheads. When Bing Huan saw these ice runes, her expression froze for a moment as they reminded her of something in her restored memories. Bing Huan murmured softly as she gazed at the ice runes etched on the body of the ice giant. How could she not recognize them? After all, they were one of the 8 great ancestral runes from the heavenly mystic dimension, the Ice Ancestral Rune. When the Ice Ancestral Rune appeared before Bing Huan, she clearly felt a connection with a part of herself that belonged to Huan, a resonance that formed between her and the rune. Even the spirits of ice and snow can't stop him? Ice Firmament looked at the thousands of ice giants appearing before him, his gaze directly locking onto the leader of the group. Suspended in midair, a figure dressed in black stood at the front, and though this black-clad youth seemed insignificant compared to the vast army of ice giants, there was no doubt that the entire army was being led by him. The leader was none other than Lin Dong, who had single-handedly broken into the Ice Spirit Clan's martial ancestor forest. Ice Firmament had set up a dozen formidable ice and snow spirits on a continent millions of miles away, expecting them to delay Lin Dong for a while. But it seemed that his expectations of resistance had not come to pass. Watching the thousands of ice giants, Ice Firmament had already figured out how Lin Dong had swiftly destroyed the ice spirits. Although there was no natural spiritual energy to harness in the ice-fire dimension, certain celestial laws passed down by the sacred drum Heavenly Sovereign were still available for use. The ice giants were clearly part of Lin Dong's battle army, driven by his fighting will. As Ice Firmament and Bing Huan saw Lin Dong appear, he quickly flashed and leapt across the stormy ice and snow region outside the Ice God Plaza, landing calmly on the quiet plaza. He slowly raised his head, his resolute gaze cutting through the space, fixing on the 2 figures standing atop the Ice God monument in the center of the plaza. At the same time, a deep voice resonated from Lin Dong's lips, and in that moment, Bing Huan, standing on the monument, tightened her grip on the Mu-Han sword, her heart brimming with warmth. Huan, I've come to take you home. Lin Dong's voice, deep and full of unwavering determination, echoed across the world. Hearing his words, Ice Firmament smiled faintly, stepping forward. Lin Dong, do you still remember this old man? Ice Firmament, standing with his hands clasped behind his back on the edge of the plaza, spoke lightly. Lin Dong, standing far off, narrowed his eyes. How could he forget Ice Firmament? After undergoing the dimensional baptism, he had arrived at the Ice Spirit Clan, and it was Ice Firmament's appearance that had forced him to retreat back to the martial realm. Of course, the main reason for his retreat was that the young Bing Huan had no memory of him back then. But now, Bing Huan had regained part of her memory, and Lin Dong believed he had the strength to bring her back from the Ice Spirit Clan. This time, he would not back down. He would never give up. He was determined to take Bing Huan back to the martial realm, back to the heavenly mystic dimension. Junior Lin Dong, of course, I still remember Senior Ice Firmament, Lin Dong replied. Looking at Ice Firmament, now that Bing Huan was right in front of him, and he was certain of her safety, Lin Dong no longer felt the same urgency. Before, whether it was the Ice Spirit Divine Guard, the Clan Protection Formation, the 24 Elders, or even Clan Leader Long Feng, Lin Dong could have used his power to crush them all. But now, things were different. First, Ice Firmament was an authentic upper heavenly supreme powerhouse, far more powerful than any of the Ice Spirit Clan's warriors Lin Dong had faced before. While Lin Dong wasn't afraid of his strength, the battle at the heavenly supreme level was dangerous. Any aftershock could easily threaten Bing Huan's life. Second, and most importantly, Lin Dong now sensed no murderous intent or hostility from Ice Firmament. It seemed he was approaching them as a normal elder, trying to converse with Lin Dong. Third, Lin Dong understood that Ice Firmament's identity was significant. He was Bing Huan's grandfather. For the past decade in the Great Thousand Worlds, Ice Firmament had been protecting Bing Huan. By protecting her, he was also safeguarding Lin Dong's Huan. Attacking him would be like repaying kindness with ingratitude. Now, Lin Dong was at his most composed. He knew that instead of forcefully taking Bing Huan from Ice Firmament, it would be wiser to earn his trust and convince him to let go, knowing that Lin Dong would protect her. You came to take Xun'er away, right? Ice Firmament spoke to Lin Dong. I came here because I want to take Huan with me, Lin Dong replied directly, without any hesitation, to Ice Firmament's question. What if I, old man, don't let you have your way? Ice Firmament asked again, but before Lin Dong could respond, he continued, then you would probably risk your life and snatch her from me, wouldn't you? Upon hearing this, Lin Dong's expression darkened slightly. However, just as Ice Firmament had said, if Ice Firmament truly wanted to stop him, he would have no choice but to resort to the most desperate measure, forcefully taking her. The Ice Spirit Divine Guard lost to you. The 24 Earth Supreme Elders are no match for you. The 3 Ice Emperors and Lung Feng can't stop you either. Now, you've basically single-handedly turned the Ice Spirit clan inside out. Even the final line of defense I set up in this ancestral land, those dozen powerful Ice Spirits, seem to have been defeated by you, Ice Firmament said, settling down calmly on the Ice God monument. He continued, now, I'm old and can't fight you young ones, so I won't stop you with a battle. After thinking it over, I've decided to have a good talk with you. I wonder if you're interested. What does Senior Ice Firmament wish to talk about? Lin Dong asked. Seeing that Ice Firmament had sat down and had openly stated that he wouldn't block him with force, Lin Dong immediately waved his hand. Instantly, the thousands of ice and snow soldiers outside the Ice God Plaza dispersed. Anything can be discussed, but I won't beat around the bush, Ice Firmament said. Let's talk about 3 things. First, the Ice Spirit Clan, then you, and lastly, we'll discuss Xun'er. If you can give me a satisfactory answer, I might consider letting you 2 be together. Ice Firmament's words made Lin Dong narrow his eyes again, but he quickly understood Ice Firmament's meaning. The latter clearly wanted to handle the matter of Bing Huan through negotiation. The old Lin Dong would never have been treated this way by Ice Firmament, but now, Lin Dong truly had the qualifications to deal with this matter. Let's talk about the Ice Spirit Clan first, Ice Firmament said. The Ice Spirit Clan was established after the world-ending war and has existed for tens of thousands of years. However, because of that war, the foundation and strength of the Ice Spirit Clan have greatly diminished. Although our ancestors worked hard to revive the Ice Spirit Clan and return it to its former glory, after tens of thousands of years, the clan has not only failed to recover but has instead continued to decline. Right after the world-ending war, the Ice Spirit Clan had 6 Heavenly Supremes and over 100 Earth Supremes. By the time I became the clan leader 10,000 years ago, there was only 1 Upper Heavenly Supreme left, and including myself, there were 2 Heavenly Supremes. The Earth Supremes numbered only around 50, Ice Firmament sighed as he shook his head. Then, the other 2 Heavenly Supremes were too eager to break through, but in their cultivation, they suffered backlash from the Heavenly Soul and were severely injured. Over the next few thousand years, each of them died with unfulfilled ambitions. By then, the Ice Spirit Clan had only me left as the sole Heavenly Supreme capable of shouldering the burden. For the next few thousand years, I didn't dare to attempt to break through to the upper Heavenly Supreme level, for fear that it would cause the last Heavenly Supreme to disappear. Only 1,000 years ago, Lung Feng stood out among the inner clan disciples. After he ascended to the Heavenly Supreme level, I dared to seclude myself and attempt to break through to the upper Heavenly Supreme level. Thanks to my preparations over 1,000 years, my breakthrough came naturally, Ice Firmament continued. But the decline of the Ice Spirit Clan persisted. Most of the clan members didn't notice because they wouldn't live long enough to see the slow decline from a historical perspective. To most of the clan members, the Ice Spirit Clan still seemed strong, 2 Heavenly Supremes and dozens of Earth Supremes. Among the myriad clans in the Great Thousand Worlds, as long as they're not compared to the Ancient Divine Clan or the Myriad Spirit Divine Clan, the Ice Spirit Clan is still considered top tier. With such so-called strength, the people of the Ice Spirit Clan could boldly do many things, either bullying those weaker than them or using the clan's name to provoke those stronger, Ice Firmament said, looking at Lin Dong. You, martial ancestor Lin Dong, come from the lower dimension. You must have experienced much. I wonder how you see the signs of this in the Ice Spirit Clan. This is a common problem for all clans or forces with a certain historical foundation, Lin Dong replied after hearing Ice Firmament's words. A powerful clan is founded by its founding generation, who fought and struggled to establish it. After the first generation, as long as the clan doesn't collapse or immediately fall into decline, its descendants will benefit from the power created by the previous generation. While they enjoy the vast resources and the protection of the established power, they lose the same struggles the founders went through. Too much comfort leads to stagnation, and then to slow, or even rapid, decline. I agree with your point. Now, the people of the Ice Spirit clan are indeed arrogant because of the strong backing they have. This might be the reason for the clan's continued decline. The bloodline of the Ice Spirit clan has gradually solidified, and is even slowly dying, Ice Firmament said. That's why the Ice Spirit clan needs an external force, one strong enough to stimulate the entire clan and make them realize the existence of true enemies and threats. Only then will the bloodline of the Ice Spirit clan thaw and reignite. The revival of the Ice Spirit clan has never been about adding a few more heavenly and earth supremes. Lin nodded, recognizing that Ice Firmament had a profound understanding of reviving a race. There are two external forces that can alert the Ice Spirit clan to potential threats. One is the mysterious and unpredictable extraterritorial race, which is the least desirable force. When this external threat truly descends, the Ice Spirit clan will have no opportunity left. The chances of revival become a mere luxury, and survival itself becomes a distant aspiration, Ice Firmament said. Therefore, the only other option left is to seek out other powerful forces within the Great Thousand Worlds. However, within this realm, the Primordial Divine Clan and the Myriad Spirit Divine Clan clearly look down on the Ice Spirit Clan. Other ancient spirit clans, like the Fire Spirit Clan, are facing decline similar to that of the Ice Spirit Clan. As for the Pill God Clan, they are separated by hundreds of billions of miles, making them unreachable. The Thunder Spirit Clan and Wood Spirit Clan, in fact, have deteriorated even more severely than the Ice Spirit Clan, with the Wood Spirit Clan lacking even a single heavenly supreme. In the Great Thousand Worlds, countless powerful forces have emerged, and the prestige of the 5 ancient spirit clans seems increasingly hollow. Even the alliances from the lower dimensions are now catching up. The reason is simple. These lower dimension alliances possess a sense of crisis stemming from the extraterritorial race, compelling them to grow stronger. Thus, by the time of my generation, I began to realize that finding a race or force within the Great Thousand Worlds that could instill a sense of crisis in the Ice Spirit Clan was nearly impossible. We are left with only one last resort. Ice Firmament continued. Since we can't find it, we can only cultivate such a force ourselves. Ice Firmament's voice echoed across the Ice God Plaza, and Lin's expression subtly changed, as if he suddenly understood something, though he remained silent. Let's leave the discussion about the Ice Spirit Clan here for now. Just as Lin began to comprehend, Ice Firmament shifted the topic, saying, "Now, allow me to address you. I have looked into your background. You emerged from a branch family located in a corner of a lower dimension called Heavenly Mystic, initially just a weakling. Yet, in just over a decade, you have risen to a level where you can stand alongside the peak experts of the Heavenly Mystic dimension, ultimately defeating a regent of an extraterritorial evil clan. This achievement is remarkable given the sparse resources of the lower dimension." Upon hearing Ice Firmament's words, Lin immediately confirmed something. He had only been in the Great Thousand Worlds for a little over a decade, and only those who had lived in the Heavenly Mystic dimension would know about him. However, the Great Thousand Worlds were vast, and 10 years was too short a time for his story to spread that far. Thus, it was clear that Ice Firmament had intentionally investigated these matters. This meant Ice Firmament had been paying attention to him from the very beginning. However, there are many who emerge from the lower dimension marked by their brilliance, yet remain unnoticed in the Great Thousand Worlds. According to my investigation, each year, over 100 individuals break through the barriers of the lower dimension and arrive here, but only a few can continue their glory. Yet, you have progressed from the Supreme level to the current Heavenly Supreme level within 10 years. If we were to gauge strength, you might now rank within the top 100, or even top several dozen in the Great Thousand Worlds. Given time, you may very well stand alongside figures like the War Heavenly Emperor and the Immortal Master, becoming a new generation leader in the lower dimension, Ice Firmament elaborated. Lin could not deny Ice Firmament's assessment. Indeed, very few had advanced to the heavenly supreme level within just over a decade after breaking the dimensional barrier. Yet Lin knew all too well that his leap in strength was thanks to three great fortunes. First, the dimensional baptism method from the Great Thousand Alliance, which allowed him to reach the upper heavenly supreme level by sacrificing all the material energy of the heavenly mystic dimension. Second, the inheritance from the sacred drum heavenly sovereign's technique regarding the will of heaven and earth. Finally, the incredible fortune bestowed upon him by the true dragon divine emperor. Lin understood clearly that everything he had achieved so far was a blend of luck and perseverance. While determination was crucial, so too was luck. I admire talented young individuals, and you are indeed an exceptional one. Your achievements over the past decades, even when compared to the ancestors and prodigies of my Ice Spirit clan, would certainly place you among the top 5, Ice Firmament remarked. Even the Ice Spirit ancestors hold you in high regard. The Ice Spirit ancestors? Lin was momentarily taken aback. The term Ice Spirit ancestors referred to the super-strong leader from ancient times who led the Ice Spirit clan in battles against extraterritorial races. That figure, the Ice Spirit Heavenly Sovereign, was one of the 10 super-strong. Lin Dong suddenly remembered a particular aura he had sensed from tens of thousands of miles away. It belonged to another heavenly supreme expert in this ice-fire dimension, aside from Ice Firmament. However, after Lin Dong arrived here, that aura had vanished, and the second heavenly supreme expert had disappeared without a trace. Could that be Ice Spirit Heavenly Sovereign? Upon this thought, Lin Dong turned his gaze toward the massive mystic ice monument beneath Ice Firmament and Bing Huan. After a brief moment of contemplation, it seemed that Lin Dong had deduced something. Now, the situation of the Ice Spirit clan and your matters are all resolved. Finally, we can discuss Xun'er, said Ice Firmament. Upon hearing this, Bing Huan tightened her grip on the Muhan sword slightly, as she knew that the time for Lin Dong to make his choice had arrived. First, I must admit something. After confirmation, I have learned that Xun'er's past life came from your heavenly mystic dimension, and your Huan is indeed the current Bing Huan. However, her reincarnation fragments are now part of Bing Huan, Ice Firmament explained. That is to say, part of Bing Huan belongs to your martial realm, while another part belongs to my Ice Spirit clan. Since Xun'er already knows this, wasn't it too dismissive of the martial realm to forcibly take Bing Huan away back then? Lin Dong asked, his gaze narrowing, his voice low. The Great Thousand Worlds respect strength, and Bing Huan is my granddaughter. As her grandfather, I must naturally seek more powerful protection for her. At that time, it wasn't that I looked down on the martial realm, but rather that the martial realm couldn't provide her with stronger protection than the Ice Spirit clan, Ice Firmament replied. And now? Lin Dong asked directly, fixing his eyes on Ice Firmament. Since Ice Firmament had previously deemed the martial realm incapable of offering Bing Huan stronger protection, now that he was single-handedly challenging the Ice Spirit clan, it was the best rebuttal to Ice Spirit clan's stance. Indeed, you have displayed surprising strength, and I cannot deny the potential of the martial realm and its future. I believe that in 10 years, the martial realm will surpass the Ice Spirit clan in every way. By that time, you will be able to provide Bing Huan with stronger protection than the Ice Spirit clan could offer, Ice Firmament said with a smile. However, I must be a bit sly this time, as behind me stands the entire Ice Spirit clan that needs protection. Xun'er intends to use Bing Huan as a bargaining chip? Lin Dong's expression darkened upon hearing this. Every word from Ice Firmament seemed to carry a grand perspective, so Lin Dong didn't believe that Ice Firmament would easily hand over Bing Huan. Bargaining chip? Don't worry, I have lived for so many years. I still have some face. Forcing my own granddaughter into a bargain isn't something I'd do. So if Bing Huan is willing, she can leave with you now. I won't stop her, Ice Firmament said. However, his next words made both Lin Dong and Bing Huan's expressions tighten. However, if she chooses to leave with you, then from this moment on, she will no longer be a member of the Ice Spirit clan. She may live with you in the martial realm under the name of Huan, but from now on, she will have no ties with the Ice Spirit clan. Upon hearing Ice Firmament's words, Lin Dong's expression grew extremely grave. While Ice Firmament's words seemed to be granting him Bing Huan, in reality, this would place Bing Huan in a dilemma, because no matter what, the bloodline of the Ice Spirit clan flowed through her veins. If she chose the martial realm, she would abandon the Ice Spirit clan. But if she chose the Ice Spirit clan, she would abandon the martial realm. Senior, I believe you should not force such a choice upon Xun'er, Lin Dong said, looking at Ice Firmament. And after all your words, I have come to understand a few things. Oh? What have you understood? Let me hear it, Ice Firmament asked. If Senior thinks highly of me, how about we strike a deal? Lin Dong suggested. Heh, what deal? Ice Firmament smiled faintly. Senior has mentioned that the revival of the Ice Spirit clan is a problem that has troubled countless people for thousands of years. The main issue has already been raised. What the Ice Spirit clan needs now is a powerful force to bring external threats to the clan, Lin Dong said, looking at Ice Firmament. If Senior trusts me, then the martial realm can become such a force to help the Ice Spirit clan revive. Heh, such bold words. What can you use to prove that the martial realm possesses such power? You can defeat my Ice Spirit clan with your strength, but reviving an entire race isn't something one person can do, Ice Firmament said with a faint smile. So, how does Senior want me to prove it? Lin Dong asked. Quite simple. If you can accomplish 4 things within 10 years, then not only will I agree to the deal, but I will also allow all members of the clan to accept Bing Huan's free travel between the martial realm and the Ice Spirit clan, Ice Firmament said. Lin Dong fell silent for a moment, before finally asking, what are the 4 things? Please, Senior, tell me. The first thing is that you must reach perfected Earth Supreme within 10 years, Ice Firmament said. If you can't do that, then at least slay an extraterritorial Saint Emperor. These. Upon hearing this, even Bing Sangqiang was surprised. This time, not only was Lin Dong somewhat astonished, but even Bing Huan beside him found it hard to believe. Achieving the perfected Earth Supreme from the lower Heavenly Supreme in just 10 years. This kind of thing could hardly be found even in the 100,000 years of history within the Great Thousand Worlds, right? The Heavenly Supreme level was the final stage in the cultivation path of the Great Thousand Worlds, and to make any further progress at this stage, even super geniuses from the Ancient Divine Clan or the Myriad Spirit Divine Clan would require 10 years or even several decades. However, Lin Dong's answer remained resolute. I can do it. The second task, which is a bit easier, is to unify the Wandering Realm within 3 years, Bing Sangqiang said. I can do it. Lin Dong replied. The third task is to make my Ice Spirit clan gain 2 Heavenly Supremes within 25 years, and at least one of them must be from the younger generation, Bing Sangqiang said. This time, Lin Dong fell silent for a moment, but after a few breaths, he nodded. The martial realm can do it? Hearing Lin Dong's 3 answers, Bing Sangqiang nodded in satisfaction. Then, only one task remains. Xun'er, go! Bing Sangqiang suddenly waved his hand toward Bing Huan, who was standing behind him. Upon hearing this, Bing Huan nodded, and then, Lin Dong saw her graceful figure leap directly down from the Ice God monument like a fish. A few flashes later, she stood not far from him. At this moment, Lin Dong and Bing Huan stood face to face. But Lin Dong saw Bing Huan raise the Twilight Cold Sword in her hand and point it directly at him.